Appearing with Jack tonight are Robert Goulet, Jose Mellis, and tonight's special guest, Judy Garland. This portion of the Jack Paar program is brought to you by Boulevard. Remember, when it's time for a gift, it's time for Boulevard, the gift quality watch. And Hertz Rent-A-Car, who puts you in the driver's seat. And by Kimberly Clark, makers of big, soft Kleenex towels. And now, here's Jack.
You're very kind. You have no idea how humble that makes a big star like me feel. Yeah, sit down. Last show I did, I happened to... I'm a conservative fella in many ways, and dresser, except that I have this wild thing for ties. And I wore this tie with a black suit on the last show. And a lady wrote in and she said that the tie fascinated her during the hour of the show, and she turned the set off at 11, but the tie stayed on till midnight. I've never been so thrilled in my up and down careers as tonight to have Judy Garland here with Robert Goulet. As a matter of fact, with such great talent, I had decided not to do my usual act this evening. But I reconsidered. And what may surprise you is you've just seen it. You must understand that after I walk out here, anything I do is an encore. You understand that? I'm kind of excited about this. This is the most money, or this is the biggest band we've ever had. The Cuban Leonard Bernstein went crazy. We have 28 pieces tonight. I know the accountant just told me it's 28. And Jose's ready. Every week it's... Jock, add some violins, more saxophones. He would add a glockenspiegel if he could pronounce it. And he's all excited with Miss Garland here. He usually directs with a baton, but tonight he's using a machete, you know, and I don't know whether he's going to play Beethoven's Fifth or invade Cuba. I just don't understand. But anyhow, all this from a guy who paid off his mortgage by squeezing lemons. In any event, it's going to be a small, quiet history for us this evening. Judy and I have been talking for the last couple of days, telling stories to each other, true stories that have happened. Now, what I'm going to tell you now are true stories about my career, mostly from The Tonight Show. Now, mind you, I don't make this stuff up. If I made it up, you'd learn to know that I don't speak the truth. The series of coincidences in my life are quite amazing. I ask you only to accept that every word I say is truthful. Whether it's funny, you'll find out. A year ago, in November, Jose and myself and Alex King and others went to California. And we did a show out there for a week, as you may remember. And on the first show, it was Alex's birthday. And so as one of the guests, our first guest was my friend Red Skelton. And Red is a compulsively generous man. And when he heard it was Alex's birthday, it was too late to go to a store. So he grabbed a rifle off of his wall and brought it down. Red's that way. If you go to his home and say, what is this? He gives it to you. I've been given very valuable Bibles from Red. I've been given cameras. Anything you ask, what is it? It's yours. Well, anyhow, so he brings this rifle. Now, it's a beautiful blue bore rifle, you know, with an optical sight, telescopic sight, beautiful wooden handle. He gives it to Alex. And, well, the gun is almost as big as Alex King. And what does Alex want with that gun? So he thanks Red. Now, that's one part. Later on, we had a man, a quick draw artist, who was the man in Gunsmoke who teaches those guys to draw fast, and he was on the show, the same show, and he brought me a holster with bullets in the side and no guns in it, but just he gave it to me after the show. Well, what do I want a holster for? So I gave it to Jose to give to his little boy. Everything is true. Now we go back to the Hilton. I said, let's go back, have a drink, in my room. We'll watch the show. We had pre-taped it, and we'll watch the show. I'll see you in my room. Here's what happens. The president, Mr. Kennedy, had just checked into the Hilton Hotel. He was making a speech there on the West Coast, and the security men are all over the hotel. In walks Alex King with this rifle with a telescope. Jose Mellis with the holster, with the bullet and the thing, and they're grabbed by two security men. I don't know what Alex said, but I did know what he said. Then he talks and he's Cuban, which doesn't help the matter. And you know what this nut says? They said, where are you going? He says, we're looking for Jack. And that's what I was telling Judy this today. You've heard the word teleprompter? Well, there's something newer and more improved called video cue. Would you show one? Let me show you, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Show it, please. That's it. You see, roll it a little bit. See, we have no script. That's the script, you see. Now, there you are. You've just read the whole thing. Well, now, remember what that is. I was once asked to help certain causes, and I didn't have time in the old days. I worked 5 nights a week, never had time. So one day I felt that I should do something, and I said, yes, I'll do it. I'll read it. Put it on the teleprompter. I'll put the makeup on. I'll be there at 4. One take, and that's it. Incidentally, I read a teleprompter very well from years of reading them. So I walked out, and I began to read this thing. Now, it was for a disease, but I had not seen the copy. I'm reading it cold, and I'm reading. Friends, do you wake up in the middle of the night? Are you constantly thirsty? Do your hands perspire? Do you itch constantly? And suddenly I hear the director say, cut, hold. I said, what's wrong? He said, Jack, something's wrong. And I said, yes, I realize that I have this disease. It happened to be about diabetes. And as I'm reading, a panic comes on my face because I got the whole damn thing. I got it. So I became interested. You know, there's 3 million people in this country with who are diabetics. Only half know it. And of the other half, another half takes insulin, have to. And I have a friend who's sitting right down there, Miriam Keys. Her brother has diabetes, and he was told he had to take the insulin shots with the needle. And not everyone, perhaps, I don't think I could, that penetrating the outer skin is difficult for a man to do himself. And so the family was asked to please help, and they were given instructions as to how to penetrate the skin, to give this boy a shot once a day. And Miriam was told to learn on an orange. And to her truth, she went home, and next thing the doctor's being called again and said she just put the hypodermic needle in the orange and fainted. Now I tell you another story. On the last show we did, we had Senator Kennedy and his lovely wife Joan, and they were here, and they were on for 20 minutes, and you all seemed to enjoy it. But whenever I do that kind of thing, I know there'll be protests, and sure enough, there were. Many, many people. Why is it always the Kennedys? You and the Kennedys. It isn't me and the Kennedys. They happen to be the President of the United States. I mean, I hate to give you the latest returns, but that's how... And I'm not rubbing it in. I'm just telling you that that's how it turned out. And they're attractive people, and they're the first family of our land, and I think everybody's interested in seeing the Kennedys. However, I don't run a political show. Now, I got these protests, and I knew I would. Every word of this is true. I took off the night I made that show and had 3 days to go down to Nassau, and I went down there with Miriam and Randy, and I was there, and having dinner one night. And but first, in the afternoon, I wanted to see the show on a Friday night. I said, I'd like to see it. It's 180 miles from Miami. You can't see television, But I saw this enormous antenna on a little island with 20 people on it. And I went ashore and went to the guy, and I said, you get a good picture? He said, yes, pretty good. It rolls sometimes, but pretty good picture. I said, well, I'm Jack Paar, and I'd like to see my show. Would you be up at 10? You're Jack Paar? Yes, sir, I am. Could I bring my family? It would be the greatest honor in the world. If you'd come, my wife will make cookies. And I said, well, that's not necessary. Could we just come at 10 o'clock and see the show? Fine. Now I'm having dinner, and I meet a fella, and he says to me, what are you going to do after you eat? And I said, I'm going to go watch my show. And he said, could I come along? And I said, well, I don't think you'd like it. And he said, well, I'd like to see it. And I said, well, I think you're a Republican. And Ted Kennedy's on, his wife, Senator Kennedy, and maybe it would bug you, and I don't think you should come. He said, I'd like to come. So this man came with me, brought his wife and his children. We go to this house, we knock on the door, and the man, I said, remember, I'm Jack Paar, and this is my wife, and this is Miriam, and this is Randy, and this is some friends of mine. This is Julie, and this is Tricia, and this is Mr. and Mrs. Richard Nixon. So just because I speak well of the President of the United States, please don't think I'm subversive. I'd like you now to meet the brightest star in show business. Said this a couple weeks ago, and critics said, who is Paar to say that? Well, they're all saying it now. His name is Robert Goulet, and he is as nice a man as he is talented. He has a voice of pure music. And when I heard Bob rehearse this afternoon, it occurred to me that his voice sounds like a flag looks in a parade. Robert Goulet.
Too wonderful to be what you seem. Could there be eyes like yours? Could there be lips like yours? Could there be smiles like yours? Honest and truly, you stepped out of a cloud. I want to take you away from the crowd.